The lights dimmed, the audience hushed, and a small boy no older than 12 walked nervously onto the stage. His clothes were simple, slightly worn, and his shoes looked too big for him. He stood in front of the microphone, his hands trembling as he glanced at the sea of faces staring back at him. For a moment, the judges thought he might break down before even beginning. Then he whispered, almost too softly to hear, "My name is Daniel. I live in an orphanage." That single sentence carried so much weight that the entire room went still. Daniel's story wasn't just about music, it was about survival. His parents had passed away when he was very young, and since then, he had bounced from one foster home to another until finally ending up in an orphanage. Life there was not easy. He often felt invisible, like he was just another number in a long line of forgotten children. But there was one thing that kept him going: music. Late at night, when other kids were asleep, Daniel would sit by the window and sing to himself. Songs were his only escape, his only way of feeling close to the parents he could barely remember. When he auditioned for the show, even walking into the waiting room was a challenge. Surrounded by confident singers with expensive outfits and supportive families cheering them on, Daniel sat quietly in the corner, holding onto the old cassette tape his mother used to play for him, Unchained Melody. It was the song she would sing when rocking him to sleep, the song that still echoed in his heart whenever he felt alone. He didn't know if his voice was good enough, but he knew he had to try, for her. On stage, the judges noticed his nervousness. One leaned forward and gently asked, "What will you be singing tonight?" His answer was shaky, but determined, "Unchained Melody." The audience let out a small murmur of surprise. It was a classic, one that required both power and soul. Could such a fragile boy pull it off? Then the music started. At first, his voice was small, almost drowned by the orchestra. But then something happened. He closed his eyes, pressed the microphone close, and poured his entire soul into the melody. His trembling faded, replaced by a strength no one expected. His voice soared through the hall, pure and haunting, carrying pain, longing, and love all at once. The judges froze. Tears filled their eyes almost instantly, not just because of the beauty of his voice, but because of the truth behind it. Every note seemed to carry the weight of his lonely nights, the yearning for the parents he had lost, and the hope that one day he would be truly seen. The audience sat in silence, many covering their mouths, their hearts breaking and healing at the same time. When the final note echoed into silence, Daniel opened his eyes. For a moment, he looked terrified, as if he wasn't sure if he had done enough. Then came the sound, applause. Not just polite clapping, but a thunderous standing ovation that shook the theater. People were crying, hugging, and cheering his name. One judge had tears streaming down her face as she slammed the golden buzzer, sending golden confetti raining down on him. Daniel fell to his knees in shock. For a boy who had felt forgotten his entire life, this was overwhelming. The judges rushed to the stage, one kneeling beside him to say, "You are not invisible. You are extraordinary." The audience roared even louder, as if to prove that every word was true. But Daniel's journey wasn't just about that single performance. Behind the scenes, he still struggled with self-doubt. Could he handle the pressure? Would people care about him after the show ended? These questions haunted him. Yet, every time he felt fear creeping in, he remembered that moment of golden confetti, the faces of thousands of strangers cheering for him, and the thought that maybe his parents had been listening from above. In the weeks that followed, Daniel's performances continued to inspire. He sang not just with skill, but with honesty. His voice wasn't polished like the others, but it was real, and that was what made people love him. Messages poured in from around the world, children in orphanages saying they felt less alone, parents saying they hugged their kids tighter after hearing him, and strangers saying his story gave them strength to face their own struggles. The night of the finals came, and Daniel stood on stage once more. He didn't win first place, but he won something far more valuable, the love and recognition he had longed for his whole life. He walked off the stage no longer just an orphan boy, but a symbol of resilience, hope, and the power of never giving up. Years later, Daniel would look back at that moment and realize it was the turning point of his life. It was proof that even in the darkest places, a light can shine if you dare to share your voice. His story became more than just a performance, it became a reminder that no one is truly invisible, and that the human spirit can rise from pain to inspire millions. And as the credits would roll on that 15-minute video, the message would be clear: sometimes the smallest voices carry the loudest echoes, and sometimes, the ones who feel forgotten are the ones who leave the greatest mark on the world.